They stand at the edge of disaster, yet they smile. The world says they've lost, but they declare victory, loudly, proudly, and often convincingly enough to make others believe it too. Napoleon Bonaparte, after the disastrous retreat from Russia in 1812, stood before the French people and claimed a strategic success. Donald Trump, after losing the 2020 election, insisted the results were rigged, then rallied thousands behind a narrative of stolen triumph. Two men, 2 centuries apart, but united by one powerful force: delusion in leadership. Not mere arrogance, not just optimism, but a deeper, more complex belief that reality can be bent by conviction, that perception is reality, and that a leader must never, ever appear defeated. But here's the twist. This delusion isn't always weakness. In fact, it's often what makes them powerful, and dangerously so. Let's start with Napoleon. After losing over 400,000 men in Russia, frozen, starved, ambushed, the campaign should have ended his reign. His army had collapsed. Europe smelled blood, and France exhausted. But Napoleon returned not in shame, he returned in grandeur. He rode into Paris as if nothing happened. He spun the narrative. The Russian campaign was a brilliant demonstration of my military genius. The army wasn't defeated, it simply needed to reposition. It sounds ridiculous, but many believed him because they wanted to. Because the alternative, that France had sacrificed 500,000 lives for nothing, was too painful to face. So his delusion became contagious, and France marched with him again. Now, flash forward 200 years. Donald Trump loses the 2020 election. The numbers are clear. The lawsuits fail. Even Republican judges dismiss the fraud claims. But he doesn't concede. He can't. Instead, he declares, "I won by a lot," and millions echo it. "Stop the steal. They cheated. Trump is still my president." He turns defeat into a rallying cry, just like Napoleon. Is it self-delusion or strategic manipulation? The answer, perhaps, is both. Because here's the secret of powerful leaders. They often need to delude themselves to keep moving, to keep leading, to survive their own chaos. Imagine being Napoleon, standing over a map soaked in the blood of your soldiers, realizing your empire is crumbling.
Could you admit failure? Could you let go? No. Because to admit defeat would unravel the identity you built, the myth, the aura. Same with Trump. To admit he lost would mean acknowledging limits. It would puncture the persona he crafted, the winner, the deal maker, the unstoppable force. So instead, they build parallel realities and invite others in. But let's pause here, because it's easy to mock delusion, to treat it as weakness. But sometimes it's what separates leaders from spectators. The truth is, every revolutionary leader was delusional in the beginning. To challenge the world order, to believe you can reshape history, that takes madness. Napoleon believed he could control Europe. He wasn't wrong for a time. Trump believed he could rewrite political rules. He wasn't wrong for a time. Their delusion became action, and action reshaped the world. But there's a turning point, a line, when belief becomes blindness, when confidence becomes collapse. For Napoleon, it was Russia, then Waterloo. He refused to adapt, refused to acknowledge the limits of his power. He returned from exile, rallied old troops, and fell again. For Trump, it was January 6, the Capitol riot, an insurrection sparked by belief in a lie,
one he repeated again and again. Both men cornered by consequences they wouldn't name, still claiming victory, still doubling down. Because here's the paradox of power. To rise, you must believe you're invincible. To survive, you must admit you're not. And few can do both. Let's go deeper. What is delusion, really? Psychologists define it as a fixed, false belief, resistant to reason. But in leadership, it's more subtle. It's not just believing something untrue. It's needing it to be true, because your entire identity depends on it. And the stronger your influence, the more reality bends around you. People stop challenging, start nodding, start echoing your beliefs, even the false ones. You build a mirror hall of affirmations, and slowly, you lose the ability to see what's real. Napoleon surrounded himself with sycophants. Trump fired anyone who questioned him. Truth became negotiable. Loyalty, currency. Facts, optional. That's when delusion becomes danger, not just for the leader, but for everyone under them. Soldiers followed Napoleon into unwinnable wars. Citizens stormed the Capitol for Trump. And yet, there's still a strange brilliance to it all. Because these men, even in delusion, radiate something rare, unshakable certainty. And in uncertain times, certainty sells. People don't follow leaders because they're always right. They follow because they never doubt. And doubt, to many, looks like weakness. But certainty, even if delusional, feels like strength. That's the seduction. You're not just following a person, you're entering a myth, a story bigger than yourself, where your leader can't lose, where the cause is always just, where the world is against you, but victory is inevitable. It feels empowering until the illusion cracks. And history is filled with those moments. Empires built on delusion, then buried by it. So what should we take from all this? Should leaders avoid self-delusion? In a perfect world, yes. In reality, they can't. Because leading means seeing beyond the present, believing before proof, carrying vision others can't yet see. But the best leaders, the rare ones, balance it. They use belief to move forward, but stay rooted enough to adjust. Lincoln doubted himself, often, but he listened. Churchill had immense ego, but admitted errors. Zelensky projects strength, but weeps on camera. Real strength isn't pretending you never lose. It's knowing when to say, "We failed, and now we rebuild." Napoleon couldn't say that. Trump won't say that. And so, their stories spiral. Napoleon ends on a desolate island, still dreaming of return. Trump remains in a campaign loop, promising restoration. Both haunted by the same ghost, the myth of never